Hey guys, my name is Ankit and welcome back to the channel. Now today I'll talk about this new camera Sony a7c which has recently been launched, and Sony sent out this camera to me for more than a month, and I use this camera for a couple of my projects. And today in this video I'll be sharing my experience of using this camera. Mainly I'll be focusing on the video side of this camera, like what are the main features, how is the autofocus, how it performs in the low light, and what are the video settings, S-Log2, everything I'll talk about in this one. So let's start it. So as soon as I got the camera, I just went out and started testing it, and here's the shot I took on Sony a7c talking about the same camera. So let's see that. In the morning the weather was quite pleasant, but now it's heating up a bit. We were shooting from last 1.5 hours with this Sony a7c camera. We were taking some b-rolls, and now I'm shooting with the same camera, but it's not heating up at all. Like the camera is I'm still able to use. A few things I really loved about this camera. One is it's very lightweight. Second one is it still records with a Z1 battery, so that you can shoot the whole day, and it has a full frame sensor and a crop frame body, so it'll be really good for travel. When you're traveling, you always want your camera to be very lightweight, so that it'll be really easy to run and gun and shoot on the go. Now one more feature I really liked about this camera, it has a flip out screen that has been really missing out for a long time. I'm vlogging on a Sony camera which has a front screen. I can see myself and vlog as well. It's just so easy. So it's gonna be really easy for vloggers, like you can just see the screen whatever you're recording. It's a plus point. So now let's talk about the video settings of this camera. You might ask, hey Ankit, what are the best video settings that we can use? Well, it has full HD 120 frames, and it also has 4K 30 frames. So with 4K 30 frames you can slow it down till 80%, and with 120 frames you can slow it down till 20%, so you can get really smooth buttery footage. So what I do is basically, if I'm just talking to the camera or if I'm vlogging, I'll just set it to 4K 24 frames, because I know that I don't want to slow it down. I need the highest quality possible. And if I'm just shooting a b-roll video, I know that I'm going to slow it down. So with that, I'll just take the advantage of 120 frames. With full HD also, you'll get really high quality video, as this is a full frame camera. Now let's talk about the picture profile of this camera. Well, by default it's off, so you can get straight good footage out of the camera. But what I do is I like to shoot as raw as possible, so I can color grade it later and get a good dynamic range. So what I do is I like to shoot in S-Log2, and then when you color grade, it's gonna look amazing. The foreground and the background both will be properly exposed, and you'll get a soft look on your face with S-Log2. So if you're shooting with Sony a7c, just take this advantage of shooting in S-Log2 profile. Now what about shooting in low light? Well, you can shoot from ISO 50 to ISO 2 lakh 4800, but what I do is I typically limit myself to use the ISO till 6400, and I turn off the picture profile, and then you will get really good footage out of the camera. Now the next thing I'm going to talk about is the stability. Well, this camera has inbuilt 5x stabilization, so you can get really good footage handheld. Talking about the autofocus, this camera has 693 autofocus points, so you can track your subject really well, and your subject will be in focus. And you can change the autofocus speed to responsiveness so that it can focus really quickly. Now let's talk about the time lapse. Well, this camera has inbuilt feature of shooting time lapse, and there are two ways to shoot time lapse. One is using the SNQ mode. So what it'll do is it'll just quickly create a video from the time lapse. But what I like to do is I like to use the photo time lapse feature of this camera, because with that you will get really high quality photos, and you can zoom in as well. For example, let's say I put my camera at one position, I'll take a wide angle shot. Then what I'll do is in editing, I can quickly zoom in and I can create a lot of time lapse. Well, try to use this feature if you're shooting time lapse. Now the last thing I want to talk about is shooting photos. Well, this camera has 24 megapixel sensor, so we'll get really high quality photos, and you can zoom in as well. The quality will still be there, and when you'll click raw uncompressed photos, well, you can get really high dynamic range. So if you'll ask me, hey Ankit, I'm looking out for a full frame camera that can do both photos and videos, which one should I pick? Well, I don't see any reason not to go with Sony a7c, so I would highly suggest you to try out this one and create good content. So guys, I hope this video was really helpful for you, and if it did help you, then do give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for future videos. I would highly appreciate. And with that said guys, I'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye. Dhanyavad.